Okay, if you went out and ran 1 kilometer as fast as you possibly could right now, what would your time be? No matter how fast or slow, it's only a matter of time and training before you can run 5K at that pace. And if you can run 5K at that pace, then with the right training, time, structure, and a bit of madness, you might just be able to hold that for a marathon or even 100 kilometers. It sounds insane, but that's exactly what I did. In this video, I'm gonna break down how I went from very average 5K runner, not being able to break 30 minutes, to being able to get to 25 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and then being able to sustain that exact pace, 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile for the entire 100K and become British champion. But more importantly, I'll show you how to reverse engineer that thinking for your own goals and turn your 1K time into your 5K time and beyond, using exactly the same approach. I'm Lee Grantham, a coach and professional ultra runner who went from running a marathon in 4 hours and 25 minutes to running a marathon in 2 hours and 21 minutes. And if you want to make massive improvements in your marathon time, you want a serious breakthrough, and you want to start doing the right things consistently well and get them working for you, then book a call in the description and we can see if we're a coaching fit. I ran at high school. I ran track and field and I ran cross country. And then I took, like a lot of people, 10 years plus off and restarted running in 2010. And when I started, I was absolutely rubbish. I went out for what I thought was going to be an easy 1 hour run. I lasted 400 meters and I walked back with my tail between my legs. But something inside of me was, you are literally at the very bottom right now. And you used to do this in high school, used to be half decent. It's a case of everything for the next 2-3 years is going to be forward progress, so long as you stick at it. And so the day after that, I couldn't run. But the day after that, I went for a run. And I started to train, but I did all the wrong things. I tried to run too fast, too quick. I tried to run too fast, too frequently. And I was constantly having setbacks, injuries, little niggles. But still, I was moving forward. I was getting faster, because whatever you do in the first 2 to 3 years of you starting running or restarting running, you're gonna move forward. And I was in Thailand, so super hot outside. And whenever I wanted to test myself and run fast and run intervals, I would go inside, I'd put the treadmill on as fast as I possibly could, 12 kilometers per hour, try to hold it as long as I possibly could, and then jump off, get my breath back, and then basically do that again. That's how rudimentary my training was. And I was able to hold a kilometer at 12 kilometers per hour. And very quickly, that became the pace that I could hold for 5K. I got my 5K time to 25 minutes. I was really happy with that. I'm moving forward. And really, when we look back at everything we've done in running, it's much more to do with the progress, the forward motion, way more than the big wins. And at that stage, I just thought to myself, okay, I couldn't run 400 meters just a few weeks, months ago. And now all of a sudden, I can put 5K together and run 25 minutes. How long is it gonna take me to get to 20 minutes? 20% faster. And I used exactly the same method again. Get on the treadmill, too hot outside, put it on 15 kilometers an hour, run as far as I could, hop off the treadmill, get my breath back, and then go again, and just repeat that until I could do it, until I could hold a kilometer at 4-minute pace. And then you know, at that point, it's only a matter of training before you can do 5 of them, because I'd already done it. I'd already got to 5 minutes for a kilometer and then trained to be able to run 5 kilometers at 5 minute per kilometer pace. And that's exactly what happened for 5K. I broke 20 minutes for 5K. And by this point, I'm already obsessed with running. It's all I can think about, morning and night. I just care about getting faster. And at 25 minutes for 5K, I'm already thinking, how can I become a professional runner? How can I make this my full-time gig? Because if I can go full-time, I can put even more effort and energy into my running, and then I'll be able to find my potential. But when I'm running 20 minutes for 5K, I'm then thinking, surely, this may sound irrational, but to me it was completely rational and very reasonable. Surely it's only a matter of training and doing all the right things well before I can sustain that 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile for 100K. And by that point, I'd already figured out that if I was going to do this professionally, full time, then I'd have to go into ultra running because I'd missed the boat on marathon running. And so in 2010, I looked at the rankings, the all-time rankings, and for if I can hold 4 minutes per kilometer and run 6 hours and 40 minutes for the 100K, I'll be 4th or 5th in the rankings of all time, and that will win me an England vest and a Great Britain vest. But most importantly, for me, it would mean that I hadn't wasted the last 10 years in a career. I was still able to get to the level, close to the level where I was at school, or I thought I was. And you get that with a lot of runners, especially older runners. They've been out of the sport for 10, 15, 20 years. They just want to get as fast as they've ever been. And that's a huge milestone, especially when you get in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. And it took me 7 years. And of course, along that time, my 5K time improved, 10K time improved, half marathon time improved. Of course, for the first time I did it, my marathon time improved from 4:25 to 3:25 to 2:37. That was a breakthrough. And then it was a case of, okay, I can run a marathon, and I think that's 3:50 per kilometer, 3:45 per kilometer. Can I hold the whole distance of 100K, 4 minutes per kilometer, 6:26 per mile? And it's funny, but the night before the British Championships 100K, I've got my England vest on, and I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm over the moon. And I go in to see the management team, which anything to do with British athletics, UK athletics, England athletics, the organization is something else. That's all I will say. And we met in a caravan. And they wanted me to, they said to everybody, I'm sure, but we came in one by one, and they said, what's your goal for tomorrow? I said, I'm going to run 4 minutes per kilometer, which is 6:26 per mile for the entire distance. And they said, oh, we want you to run a bit slower than that. A qualifying time for Great Britain team is 6:55. We worked that out to be about 4:15, 4:20 per kilometer. And I'd been training, and I talk about this a lot, training specifically towards running for 6 hours and 40 minutes at 4 minutes per kilometer. So running 20 seconds less is essentially like getting in a car and getting it to try to do something for a long time that it's not used to. It's going to have problems. They didn't get that, despite being all kind of England athletic coaches and all that kind of nonsense. But what I figured out is they just wanted, the British Championships is England versus Ireland versus Scotland versus Wales. They just wanted 3 counters so that England could take the win. That's all they cared about. They don't care about individual performances. The next day, I ran 4 minutes and 1 second per kilometer for 100K and won the race. And I don't think that is an impressive time. It was just decent for that time. And at the time, it was 5th or 6th fastest time of all time. It's now 15th fastest of all time, which is only 7 or 8 years later. And recently, I said that the 100K world record, which at the time was 6:13, it was weak. That's absolutely true. It was a weak record. That was a weak time for me to become 6th on the all-time. It doesn't deserve to be 6th on the all-time record. And the reasoning behind that is if you were to put the same prize money that there is in city marathons and put that $250,000, $500,000, if you win the World Championships 100K, the Kenyans, the Ethiopians, the Eritreans, the Ugandans would show up and run well under 6 hours. So even the current world record of 6 hours and 5 minutes, of course, is a great time. But is it a strong world record? No, because it's not open to everybody in the world right now, because there's not the incentive to do really well. And in exactly the same breath, that's exactly what I love about it, because you have to be in it for the love of it. You cannot be in it for the money. But my point is, to bring this back to the 5K, is if I can go out there and really suck at something, but just have that hunger to want to get better and consistently move forward, still doing the wrong things, but getting better, get on a treadmill and run a 5-minute kilometer and think, it seemed amazing based on where I was, and then be able to do that for 5 kilometers. And then you use exactly the same tactic at 4 minutes per kilometer, which is 20% faster, which doesn't make much sense to the vast majority of runners. I completely understand that. But if I can then take that 1 kilometer all-out time, and you can take your 1 kilometer all-out time, turn that into your 5K time, and that might be a 4 minute per kilometer, it might be a 5 minute kilometer, you turn that into 20 minutes or 25 minutes, I promise you, it's only a matter of training before that becomes your marathon time or your half marathon time, and even more, your 100K time. It is only a matter of training because you've proved for 20, 25 minutes, you can hold that pace. So it's just a matter of training. And you could keep it as rudimentary as I kept it. I had no structure. I was reading everything, far too much, everything on the internet, every book that I could get my hands on. And I was piecing together and patching together pretty much everybody's plans and doing hard runs every single day. But if you just did twice a week, ran fast twice a week, and the rest of it was easy running. And then for that 5K training, you did the initial time trial, 1 kilometer, as fast as you could do. Let's say that's 4 minutes. You run 4 minutes all out, and then you start to do 6 kilometers of volume, and you play around with sessions like 6 times a kilometer with 60 seconds rest in between. That short rest, so you don't have enough time to fully recover, which in turn will make you slow down during the reps, which is really important so you don't overstrive. And then another session could be 12 times 500 meters with 60 seconds, much more rest because it's only half the rep distance. And then you could do 3 times a mile, so bigger reps. And then you might do 24 times 250 meters and work on that top end speed. If you just did those 4 sessions and you did those once a week together with a long run, you would move forward. And the consistency is what would move you forward. And doing the right thing, they are the right things, so long as you stay slow enough and less effort in your recovery runs and easy runs, you would move forward. And then all of a sudden you get confident to 5K, okay, this was my 1K time, now it's my 5K time. It's only a matter of training before this is my 10K time. And then you get to 10K, it's only a matter of time before I can double it again and a bit more and run a half marathon. And then you get to half marathon, I'm gonna go all the way. You get to half marathon and you think, it's only a matter of time before I can run a marathon. I can't believe it, this was my 5K, this was my 1K time. And then you get, if you're delusional enough, like you'll see in the comments after this video, and you think that your 1K time can improve by 20%, can then get to 5K, and then why can I not run that for 100K? If you're delusional enough and you forget about the general rules and regulations of running, the incrementals, etc., you could go for it and it would work. And the best thing is you would have a lot of fun along the way. So stop setting small targets, start aiming high. And even if you miss, you're gonna enjoy the process and you're gonna get so much further than if you aim safe, because you don't want to fail.